So the talk tonight is on the concept of dukkha. That's a Pali word, dukkha. It is the first noble truth. The first noble truth is dukkha. Buddhism, one could say, is organized around four noble truths. Dukkha, the cause of dukkha, the end of dukkha, and the way to the end of dukkha. You could actually boil the entire religion, philosophy, practice, whatever we want to call it, down to those four elements. So we're going to start with the first one. We're going to define it because it seems kind of central. Dukkha is often translated as suffering. But there are plenty of teachers who would say that's not quite the right word to use. As an aside, new helpful use of ChatGPT is quickly summarizing 2,600 years of Buddhist teachings and interpretations with citations. It's a great librarian. Some of these, though, I was already familiar with. A common translation of it by people like Thanissaro Bhikkhu is that dukkha is stress, right? Stress is a little different than suffering, has a little more of a everyday quality to it, right? Suffering can sort of have a weighty feel. Lee Brasington, a Buddhist teacher I love, who's known for his teaching of concentration and jhana practices, he wrote this wonderful essay defining dukkha where he went through all the different versions, sort of said, suffering's too heavy, stress kind of doesn't quite capture the full range of things. For example, the Buddha says birth and death are dukkha. He's like, death isn't really stressful. Once it happens, it just happens, right? You're not so stressed afterwards. And what he came up with as his translation for dukkha was bummer. He said that, death's a bummer, birth can be a bummer, life, pain, sickness, these things are bummers. That was his version. Whatever definition we want to use, what we have to understand is that there's this experience that the Buddha wanted us to understand as being an unavoidable fact. The first noble truth just is the fact of dukkha, right? Its existence. And one of the things that's been a little confusing kind of pedagogically in the teachings is whether dukkha is the events of life themselves or reaction to it, or something that's just running in the background. These are all different interpretations people have had. And it's kind of interesting that after 2,600 years of these teachings, we haven't quite nailed down the first word. But what I'd like to offer you tonight, rather than kind of a heady philosophical exploration or a linguistic session, is an experiential exploration of dukkha. Because that's really where this practice points, right? This is not a practice that takes place in a library. It's a practice that takes place in a meditation hall where we all now find ourselves. So my goal for you today is to know dukkha and then hopefully leave this room, having come to know it, feeling a little bit better. If we do those two things, if you feel like you have a little bit of an idea on an experiential level what dukkha is, and you walk out of here feeling a little bit better, then we did our job. If we don't, as my uncle would say, you can have your money back. And since this is by donation, you can decide exactly how much you want to take back out of it. So this practice that I want to invite you to, it's a lovely practice to engage in before meditation. And it's one that I've I was first introduced to actually by Jonathan Foust, Tara Brach's husband, Tara being the woman who first taught here with the Insight Meditation Community of Washington, and who many of us studied under and still study under. Her husband taught me this practice, and he learned it from a psychotherapist who worked closely with Carl Rogers, a guy named Eugene Gendlin. Not a Buddhist as far as I know, but arrived at some of the same understandings. And I'm going to tell you what the practice is, and then you can decide for yourself if you want to do it. But I'm going to ask you the same question a handful of times. And the question is going to be, what's in between you and feeling completely free and at peace right now? And your answer to this question in your own head, because if we all say them out loud, it's going to be a little bit busy in here. The answer to this question can be as mundane as I have a slight headache because I didn't get enough coffee, or my left foot is asleep. It can be something kind of in the middle zone, like I had a difficult conversation at work today, or I'm having gastrointestinal issues, or it can be something massive, right? There's a huge feeling of loneliness in my life. One of my most important relationships is falling apart. There's a tremendous amount of economic worry in my life, right? So whatever arises on that spectrum. I'll ask you the question. Something will probably pop into your head. I'll invite you to make a little space for it. Just let it be here in the mind, here in the room, here in the body, if that's a thing that feels right. And I'll invite you to gently set it aside. You can set it 1 inch away from you. You can set it across the room. You can put it on the other side of River Road. And we'll do that a few times. What's between you and feeling free? Something arises. Make space for it. Set it aside. And these things, and the experience of these things, dukkha. Okay? And then once we've done that, we'll move into our meditation practice. Does that sound good to everybody? Great. I don't know where that enthusiasm came from, but I really appreciate it. That is like, that feels good. Yeah, no, it's good. I like what's brewing in that corner of the circle. All right. Before we practice, the last thing I want to invite you to do, and this is another preparation technique for meditation that I love, in addition to breathing and moving, which is just to orient yourself to the room, right? Here's this lovely sacred space. It's, for those of you who aren't here, I'll click. It has these nice sort of wood ceilings at an angle. There are these hanging lights, and you guys should look around the rooms that you're in, right? That's your meditation hall right now. And just feel that this space is holding us. It's keeping us dry. It's a nice temperature. Many, many people have done some deep spiritual work here, so it's well worn and well used for this purpose. And it's pretty safe feeling, right? There's no spirits lurking around. Friendly faces. And so what I invite you to do now is turn inward. And I'm going to ask you this question as you sit here, feeling your body in the chair, feeling your body in this room, letting yourself soften a little bit. What's in between you and feeling completely free and at peace? And something will arise in the mind. And as it does, I'd like to invite you to see if you can just let it be here. There's that thing. It's in the mind. You might consciously soften the face, soften the shoulders, soften the body. That's how we make room for something. We soften. And you might notice if there's any feelings, maybe a little nausea, a little tenseness, some discomfort. And see if you can make space for that too. there's this thing. And this experience, this tension, this nausea, this discomfort, and this kind of mental worry, this whole package, that's an experience of dukkha. And then if it feels possible, I'd like to invite you to take that whole cloud, that whole cluster, and just see if you can imagine setting it outside the body. Close, far away, wherever feels right. And if it doesn't want to go anywhere, if it just feels totally stuck, if it feels like it's here and you are it, just see if you can imagine some space around it. The edges of it, the place where it stops and quiet, empty space starts. And then I'll ask you again. Setting that issue aside, what's in between you and feeling completely free and at peace? As something arises, allowing some space for it. Noticing how it feels in the mind or the body. Softening to the extent that you can. And then seeing if it's possible to set it aside. Or at a minimum, to imagine the space around it, to sense the space around it. Now, if those two things were resolved, they were not an issue. You might ask yourself again, what's between me and feeling completely free and at peace? Making space, sensing the experience in the mind and body, and then seeing if you can set it aside, or at least feel the space around it. And we'll do this 2 more times. So there are those 3 things you've set aside. And coming back to the mind and body now, just asking if those 3 things are taken care of. What would be between me and feeling completely free and at peace right now? And sometimes the further we go, the longer it takes for things to rise up, like a bubble from the deep. Give yourself a little time, or maybe it's right there waiting for you. And whatever arises is fine. If it's here, it's here. Making space, allowing yourself to feel the experience of this being present. Maybe there's some unpleasantness. Softening if that feels okay. And then seeing if it's possible to set it outside the body. And this will be our final round. If those four things were all settled, coming back and asking yourself, what's in between me and feeling free? And on this last one, there may be something specific, and there may just be something vague, almost shrouded in mist, or like wallpaper that's been there so long you hardly notice it anymore. And maybe it's something you can name, and maybe it isn't. But on this last one, giving permission for the thing to be less concrete if needed. Just a felt sense, if nothing else emerges. Or maybe there really isn't anything there, and if those four issues were resolved, you would be free and at peace. And again, with this fifth one, whatever comes up, making space, softening, letting the body relax. And seeing if you can set it in its specificity or its vagueness somewhere outside the body, or at least sense the edge of it, the space around it. And now, I'd like you just to notice how the body feels right now. Just noticing the face, the neck, the shoulders, the chest, the belly. The experience of this body, having had these things named, felt, given space. And we're going to transition here directly into the meditation. And you don't need to change anything as long as you're comfortable. And I'll invite you to gently let yourself just notice that breathing is happening. And if the breath is very small and subtle, you can let the attention be the same size. kind of a small attention right up next to the breath. And if the breath is big and heavy, you can let the attention be big, making space. You might feel the breath or hear the breath, picture the breath, or all of the above. But your senses are aware of it. It's happening. And letting the attention stay here. And if the body gets more still and the breath gets more subtle, letting the attention get smaller and more subtle with it. The room, the rest of the body might just fade out. It might just be the breath and the awareness of the breath.